You've seen the pictures, heard the stories, and maybe even watched the documentaries about how beautiful Thailand is. With most showcasing beautiful Thailand beaches, vibrant markets, delicious food, and an endless promise of paradise. It's a dream come true for many, right? But here's the thing, moving to Thailand, or anywhere for that matter, comes with some hidden challenges and dangers that most people don't talk about. In fact, these dangers are so real that they can quickly turn your dream of living in Thailand into a nightmare. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 hidden dangers of moving to Thailand from the US dangers that can completely derail your plans if you're not prepared. So buckle up, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what to expect, what to avoid, and how to thrive if you eventually move. Number 1. Cultural misunderstanding. Let's start with something that might not seem like a danger at first, but trust me, it can be a big one. Cultural misunderstanding. When you think about Thailand, you probably imagine exotic temples, the hustle and bustle of Bangkok, and of course the stunning beaches. But what most people don't realize is that Thailand has a very unique culture, with customs and rules that might seem foreign or even strange to someone from the West. You'll soon find that Thailand has a set of social norms that are deeply embedded in everyday life, and if you don't follow them, you could find yourself unintentionally offending someone, or worse, causing yourself some trouble. Let's talk about something very important, the monarchy. In Thailand, the monarchy is held in extremely high regard, and speaking ill of the royal family is illegal. Now, you might think that people just don't like to talk about politics in general, but here it's more than that. Disrespecting the monarchy can lead to serious legal consequences. It's something you'll want to keep in mind, especially if you're sharing your thoughts about Thailand on social media or talking with the locals. So, respect the royal family. It's just one of those things you need to know. And then there's the concept of face, the importance of maintaining your dignity and avoiding shame in public. This is a crucial part of Thai society. If you ever find yourself in a heated argument, raise your voice, or, heaven forbid, lose your temper, you could easily embarrass yourself. The Thai people value politeness, humility, and subtlety. It's not about being rude or open in expressing frustration. Everything is done with a smile. You might also find yourself confused by things like the why, that traditional Thai greeting where you press your hands together in a prayer-like position and bow your head slightly. At first, it might seem like a cute gesture, but knowing when and who to offer a way to is important. You'll see it in temples during formal greetings, and especially when you're dealing with elders or people in positions of authority. So, if you're planning to move here, you'll need to learn these unspoken rules to avoid any awkward moments or misunderstandings that could make you stand out in a not-so-great way. It might seem small, but these cultural nuances can make or break your experience living in Thailand. Number 2, legal and bureaucratic nightmares. Now, moving on to something a little more serious, the legal and bureaucratic nightmare that many expats face when living in Thailand. In theory, Thailand is a fantastic place to live. However, navigating the bureaucracy can be a huge hassle, especially when it comes to visas and permits. You'll soon realize that things aren't always as straightforward as you might have imagined. For starters, visas can be confusing. There are so many different types depending on your purpose for being in Thailand. Tourist visas, work permits, retirement visas, education visas, and so on. And if you want to stay long-term, be ready for a lot of paperwork, long queues at immigration offices, and a ton of waiting around. Even if you've done your research and prepared everything ahead of time, you might still run into issues. For example, the visa system in Thailand changes often. There are constant updates on visa regulations, rules about re-entry permits, and details about how long you can stay without a visa run. It can become exhausting to stay up to date on all the requirements, and the last thing you want is to be caught without the right documentation, as this can lead to fines or even deportation. And then there's the legal system. While Thailand has a legal system, it's quite different from what you're used to in the United States. The process can be slow, frustrating, and expensive. You might find yourself in a situation where dealing with a legal issue becomes a long and costly ordeal. Whether it's a property dispute, a traffic violation, or something more serious, legal matters can be overwhelming if you don't know the local system or have connections in place. So, make sure you have a reliable lawyer who understands Thai law, and always double-check your visa status, as falling behind on paperwork could lead to serious consequences. Number 3, health risks and access to healthcare. Here's something that many people overlook when they consider moving to Thailand: health risks and access to healthcare. First of all, Thailand is an amazing place to live if you're healthy. The food is fresh, the air is warm, and the lifestyle is generally active. However, there are some health risks that you need to be aware of. For example, dengue fever. It's a mosquito-borne disease that's prevalent in tropical regions like Thailand. While it's not life-threatening for most people, it can make you very sick, and dealing with it can be a huge pain. You'll also want to be cautious about foodborne illnesses. Thailand is famous for its street food, and while it's delicious and cheap, not all food vendors maintain the highest standards of hygiene. You'll likely find yourself suffering from food poisoning at least once during your stay. So while you might want to sample everything, be mindful of where you're eating. Another important consideration is healthcare access. While Thailand has some great healthcare facilities, particularly in big cities like Bangkok and Chiang Mai, rural areas may not have the same standard of care. It's important to understand that you might not always have access to the level of care you're used to in the United States. Additionally, medical insurance is something you'll need to plan for. Thai healthcare can be affordable, but for long-term care or emergency situations, it can get expensive. Make sure to have international health insurance, or at least a local insurance plan that covers both general and emergency care. Number 4, financial pitfalls and the cost of living. Now let's talk about money, because moving abroad isn't always as cheap as people think. At first, it seems like Thailand is the place to be if you want to save money. The cost of living is lower than in the United States, and your dollar can stretch farther here. You might expect to pay just a fraction of the rent, eat out at delicious restaurants every day, and live a luxurious lifestyle, right? Well, that's not entirely true. Yes, Thailand is cheaper than the United States, but prices are going up, especially in popular areas like Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and Phuket. Expats flock to these areas, and with them comes an increase in demand for goods and services. You'll quickly find that rent in trendy neighborhoods or near the beach can cost as much, if not more, than rent in some parts of the United States. Additionally, things like imported goods, whether it's food, technology, or household items, can be pricey, especially when you're used to getting them cheaply back home. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of living in a tropical paradise, but remember that certain expenses will sneak up on you. Not to mention scams. Thailand is full of scams targeting tourists and expats. From fake taxi drivers to inflated prices in markets, you need to stay alert. It might not seem like a big deal at first, but when you add up the small overcharges and scams, your budget can go out the window. Number 5, social isolation and mental health struggles. Finally, let's talk about something that many people don't discuss: the emotional toll of living abroad. Moving to a new country can be exciting, but it can also be lonely and overwhelming. At first, everything is new and fun. You're exploring the streets, meeting new people, and experiencing life in a different culture. But eventually, that feeling wears off and the reality sets in. You might start feeling isolated from your friends and family back home. You may have a difficult time making lasting connections, especially if you don't speak the language fluently, or if you're not surrounded by other expats. The language barrier is one of the toughest challenges. While many people in Thailand speak English, not everyone does, especially in smaller towns. This can lead to frustrating interactions and a sense of isolation. You may also find it difficult to integrate into Thai society, as cultural differences and misunderstandings can lead to feelings of disconnection. Another factor to consider is the mental health impact of living so far from home. You may face feelings of homesickness or culture shock that can affect your overall well-being. It's important to maintain a solid support system, both in Thailand and back home, and make sure you're taking care of your mental health as much as your physical health. Moving to a new country is always an adventure, but it comes with challenges. You can't let the dream of living in Thailand blind you to the realities of what it takes to make it work. But with the right preparation, the right attitude, and a bit of patience, you can absolutely thrive here. So don't let these dangers scare you off. If you understand them, anticipate them, and prepare for them, you can make your move to Thailand as smooth and enjoyable as you've always dreamed it would be. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more content like this, and leave me a comment below about your thoughts on moving abroad or any experiences you've had. Thanks for watching.